Welcome back, everybody. Today is question number 155. Let's do a slideshow. So again, we're going through all kinds of questions for DevOps and SRE interviews so that when you get an interview, you are fully prepared to answer any question the interviewer might throw at you because I'm going through all the topics that could possibly be asked about. Okay, so before I start though, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. It is nothing for you, but it's a big deal for my channel. It really helps me out. Okay, as you might remember from other videos, I've done some research, and these are the 15 topics that are most important for you to study for DevOps and SRE interviews. The ones at the top, like cloud, AWS, GCP, CI/CD, those are very important. The ones at the bottom, like Docker and system design, according to the data, is not as important. But really, containers should be higher in the list. I don't know why it came out like that. But anyway, today's topic is number 6, networking slash DNS. That's the topic I'm gonna ask you a question about, and then I'll give you the answer. So, question today is, how can DNS caching impact performance of an application? That's the question. So the context here is you have an application that needs to resolve names to IP addresses, and what if you cached the DNS query result for your application? How does it affect the application positively, and how does it affect negatively? That's the question. Okay, before I move on, don't forget to take 1 hour free session with Floyd Spencer, my career advisor. I have no financial benefit from with it. I just know that he's a fantastic human being and really cares about people who are in the job market. Okay, how does it impact positively if you use DNS caching in your application? Obviously, you're going to have reduced latency because it's not going to go out and get the IP address every time somebody's asking for the IP address of that DNS name. It already has it in the cache. It serves in less than milliseconds, and the application runs super fast. Also, if you are not looking up the name over and over and over again every time somebody asks, your application's volume of how many DNS queries it's doing is obviously going to be super low. You might do once and you might save it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, one day, whatever. And that's one query versus hundreds or thousands of queries back to the DNS server. And because of this, obviously, the application performs better. Those are the positive influences of using a DNS cache in your application. Now, how could it possibly do bad things to your application? Well, it can. First of all, you might have stale data. If the IP addresses change and you're serving up an IP address that's old, your application is going to have an error. It's not going to work. So you have to be careful to make sure that you're querying the DNS server in the back end frequently so that you're not serving up old data. So of course there's a balance here, right? You might have difficulty in propagation. What does that mean? So what it means is if you have a cache data and your application needs the fresh data from the backend servers, you might have old data. You might have it's kind of related to number one, stale data. You're serving up old data that may be reacting with other part of the application, and it's going to mess things up because you don't have the right data with you, right? You don't have the right DNS resolution, so it can really mess you up if you have the wrong data. Troubleshooting challenges. This I have faced myself in my own career. So if the DNS has changed or the IP address has changed, and your application is just acting goofy, it's not working right, you don't know that it's happening because your cache data is wrong. You don't know that you haven't gotten the latest IP address from the DNS servers, right? Based on the query. So your application is going to be acting funny and you will not know why. It will take you a while to figure out that it's because the IP address is wrong. You're serving up the wrong IP address. So these are some of the negatives of using DNS caching. But of course, there's balance is the answer here. You should always, at certain interval, you should query the backend DNS server so that you don't have stale data. At the same time, you shouldn't be doing it all the time, because then if you do it all the time, then then your application is going to suffer in terms of performance, and there'll be tons of DNS queries going out to the backend DNS server. Okay, I hope this was useful to you. And if you have further questions, or if you have a topic that you want me to cover, please find me on LinkedIn. I will do my best to answer your question as time permits, or you can just leave a comment here and I will answer your question. All right, you have a good day, and I will see you in the next one.